if you happen to walk into the studio and you hear andele, andele, mami, ei, uh-oh. So imagine you walk into a studio and you hear that, and we were like, what is this? You know what I mean? I'd be in the studio for 16 hours. 9 to 11 of those hours were spent on listening to 34 records you got in the stash while drinking and dancing and girls and everything coming in. And then you get a notification from the boss that your budget has depleted. And you're like, what do you mean? I wasn't recording. I was in the studio just playing my music.
Yeah.
It would just.
Yeah, the myth, the man, the myth, the legend is here.
What's going on? All right. It was like the pocket I found, you know, because I just graded midterms. That's like a whole new thing for me is teaching. So I'm still kind of getting my.
See, about that.
Yeah, it's cool though. It's a fun gig, you know.
Yeah.
So, but
it's rewarding, I'm sure.
It's very rewarding. Like I went from like 0 to 100, you know, it's like you're teaching at the highest institution of music in the world.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
and you're just like, what the hell? And they don't even train you. They're like, just teach them what you know. And I'm like, what do you mean? That's it? You know, you're going to pay me just to, you know? So it's kind of cool because I'm able to work on records that I'm currently working on and like mix it with the kids and get them involved. And they love it because they're like, wait, because the first time they didn't really understand it the first semester. So I ended up talking to them and I'm like, you guys are going to see when it gets released. And this one release came out with this indie like rock kid who was on RCA at the time. And he ended up like killing it with like a couple million, and the kids were like, but we got to see that in class. And then it started. So it was like cool. I was like, oh shit. My bosses, they love it. They're like, whatever you do, engage them. I'm like, okay.
Wow. That was the main thing I was really like thinking about talking about, because I don't want to say elder statesman, but when I see like those like Lupe's, Ninth Wonder, you getting these teaching gigs, I love seeing that.
Yeah, that's dope, man. I'm glad you even said that because I feel the same way. Like I see all these people now that I came up with that are like teaching. And, you know, some kids have just the wrong idea. Like I know like younger engineers in their 30s that I feel like could teach right now. Like they could give something back, and they don't understand. It's not like it's a full-time gig. You know, I'm only teaching twice a week, and I'm able, this is it. This is what my students see like twice a week, this angle. You know what I mean? So like then I share my screen, I teach them, I give them access to my computer. I'm like, yo, let's see, Chris, what would you do to the drums, you know? And it's like, let me see what you would do. Just focus on the drums, you know? And they get to do it, and they're like, oh, you know?
That's literally because seeing, because I think Ninth started maybe either earlier this year or late last year doing that.
No, man, I think he was going in, from what I understand, because I remember when he like, I don't know him personally at all, but I followed his career because, man, when, you know, you got to remember, he came onto that Jay-Z record. Everybody was like, this motherfucker's using like, you know, Fruity Loops at the time. It wasn't even FL. It was Fruity Loops.
About this yesterday.
Yeah, you know, and everybody was like, that's not even beat making, because everybody was still on the MP. Like the 4000 was around at the time, you know. Everybody was on that shit. I stopped it around the 2000 because I was producing. I got a whole history of shit that you guys have no idea. And I got to rock the Messi today because they're playing tonight. Game 2. Well, I don't know if you know, I was born in Argentina. I came here when I was 5.
From Amsterdam, remember you saying
Yeah, I mean, I didn't speak a lick of English.
We learned from school.
Well, you know, back in the day, there wasn't like these ESL programs like they have now, like English as a second language. And so like I moved back up to the suburbs from the city just to you know, because of the, you know, just the programs up here. You know, if I'm going to pay high taxes, I might as well like put my kid in public school,
Absolutely.
you know?
Absolutely.
But I didn't have that growing up, and I grew up in this county, so like I had a Mrs. Garcia. That was it. I got pulled out of
Wow.
school like twice a week, and I would go with Mrs. Garcia, and she would teach me how to read, and we'd watch like Sesame Street and shit.
Yeah, that's the time.
That's how I learned English. I was watching fucking Grover and Oscar and
So you around for Hooked on Phonics and all of that too with the little owl?
I didn't have shit. I had Mrs. Garcia. That was it. I had Mrs. Garcia. Yeah, I didn't have nothing, man. And you know, they threw me in like the grade, like there was this like grade with like it was like the kids who were like, you know, like had learning disabilities and shit. But didn't have a learning disability. I just didn't know how to speak the language, but I picked it up in like, I don't know, 7 or 8 months. I was fluent.
Oh yeah, wow.
Remember, I was 6 years old at that point now. So 6-year-olds are like, if you drill it into them,
yeah.
you know, I wish, man, I was hoping my one of my son's best friends is Chinese, and I'm like, man, you better learn Chinese.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
I hear
You could be an asset to America and China at that point.
Absolutely.
Make some real money and live somewhere far away.
Oh yeah. Right before that, I want to get you in trouble with your students. Who's your favorite student, man? Who's your favorite kid?
What, my favorite student?
Yeah, you have one. I mean, you don't have to say the name, but like, do you have a favorite in class?
No, because you know why? They all have different the degree program that I'm a part of is a new program at Berklee. It's called IRP, Independent Recording and Production. So it's really what gravitated me towards it was the fact that it's the bedroom producer. I've always believed in that because I worked in the big studios, but then when 9/11 hit, nobody wanted to come to New York. So I was forced, I literally was forced to like buy an M box, and my wife, well, she's my wife now, but when we were dating back then, she was going to Hunter College, and we were living in Queens in Astoria in this like little 1-bedroom apartment. We had just moved from Brooklyn right before 9/11 happened. We just moved in. We lived in this tiny apartment on the Brooklyn Promenade overlooking. Like,
no way.
And I didn't have money back then. We got it through her sister was going to Brooklyn Law School and like grandfathered us into like their pricing, but we had it for like, I don't know, 2 years. But then we went from that view, and then like literally right after that in Queens, our living room faced this hoarder's fucking living room. It was this like overweight dude walking around his apartment. It was so bad. We'd keep I turned into a vampire during those years. But yeah. So I just went off on a complete tangent about something. What was the whole point of this? The house. So I started. So my wife was going to Hunter, ended up needing a computer. So I just kind of parlayed with her to get her to add some more memory to it. It was like those Dell computers back in the day where you could modify it. So I'm on the internet on my 56K modem, like click, 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 click. You know what I mean? And I'm adding like, I don't know what it was at the time. Maybe like 500 megs got you somewhere in life. And so I bought that M box. And I was an assistant, like one of the busy assistants in New York. Like if I needed a job, I can just walk into a studio, and my experience usually got me a gig because I was an assistant for like 5 years. So, you know, assistant engineers just know the studio so well, all the equipment. We know everything, how it works. So if an engineer walks in and never worked on like an SSL before and needs to do automation, yo, can you get me automation? You sit with them. You're like, yeah, here's write mode. Here's touch mode. If you touch the fader now, press the mute, you know, all that. So you have to know all that stuff.
Right.
But then you get bored because that now you're engineering on the side. You're good. You're getting real good. but then you feel like once you get to a point where like you start working with engineers that walk in and you're like, man, I know way more than this. What the fuck? I'm like, you're just sitting there and you're watching him and, you know, you're just making mistakes. Like I had one guy come in one day, like hip hop engineer, and just walked in and was like, yo, we're going to record drums. I was like, all right, so what kind of mics you want? He's like, I don't know. You got like a bunch of 57s. I was like, you have a chance to record drums and you want SM57s. The hell's happening? You know, so anyway, so I ended up starting sessions out of my apartment, and my first client was this still a really good friend of mine. We talk very, very little now, but we touch base every few years. His name's Kel Spencer. He's a writer from Brooklyn, and Kel was a writer. Wrote for Will Smith, wrote for Wyclef, wrote for Mary J, I mean, he was like very low key, but like did very well.
Yeah.
So it started off doing like demo vocals for whoever, and he would come in and book my apartment for like $15 an hour.
Wow.
And I worked off word of mouth, and I just built it. Next thing you know, there's like a bunch of dudes in my living room playing fucking PlayStation 1 at the time, right? And I'm on headphones. I'm on headphones with the dude next to me rapping, like, you know, my MPC's getting hit into. My wife's coming home, ends up like cooking dinner for everybody. Like it was crazy those times.
That's crazy.
So then word of mouth. I don't know if people came for her food or my engineering at that point, but you know what I mean? Like,
it was in the living room. They're still there.
No, but it was cool. It was a really cool, you know, the whole start of it. And then I was just forced to get into it. And then from there, I just worked my way into still like at that point, I was doing real like well for what I mean, the fact I was able to pay my bills at that point,
Yeah.
well, somewhat. I've only had the lights shut off one time in the middle, and I didn't have money to get on the train to go to fucking Flushing to pay that shit. And I couldn't get on the internet because I had no electricity. So, so we slept at my friend's for like 6 days, and then I was able to get over there.
That's crazy.
But you know, I was able to pay my bills, and then we moved into a 2-bedroom apartment, and the second bedroom I converted into that. My boy at the time, who was working at Atlantic, was like, I need an office. So I was like, why don't you share the bedroom with me, and I'll take the front spot, I'll put against the wall my gear, and you have your thing, we'll work out the times. He's like, I could just work in the living room if you have. I'm like, cool. So we turned my apartment into like a half like label, half whatever.
Yeah.
And it was that apartment in Queens was like the real jump of everything, because that's when I started meeting like all these people. Like,
So how long were you in doing that there?
that was almost like that apartment. No, total. So I was in Astoria total. So probably like 8 years in that apartment.
Wow.
Yeah, probably 8 years. But that didn't so there was a point where I outgrew that room. Like when I started, so I met this. Do you guys follow any of the battle rap scenes?
Yes. Yes.
So you know Poison Pen?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So Penn and I were really, really good friends, and we met through my mastering engineer, Ricardo Gutierrez, who went to high school with him in Sunset Park, right, in Brooklyn. Right? So check this out. So we ended up connecting, right? And Penn, like, just used to tell everybody about me. Like, yo, you got to record at my man's spot.
That's crazy.
So then I started getting all these artists. Like I'm telling you, like people from like Master Ace to Jin to I had. Do you remember that dude Emilio Sparks that was on?
Yeah, of course.
I mixed a record for him out of that apartment, like one of his singles. It was so crazy. Like it was such a crazy time that like even my landlord knew exactly what was I lucked out with every landlord. This dude, he was this Greek dude, Jimmy, and he just like knew he knew everything that was going on in there, like didn't care, because the whole building was all of these musicians, right? And there was all these randomly, I didn't, there was no connection, but ex-Berklee students, right? And one of them upstairs, literally where my studio was, which was the front bedroom, his studio was upstairs. He was a sax player, right? So he kept like, I kept hearing some fucking John Mayer being played up there, like Gravity. He would like, I was like, what the fuck is this dude doing up there? So I was mixing hip hop. So I'm like, I'm like cranking the shit out of the room, like, fuck that. And then one day he just knocks on the door and he's like, we start talking and he's like, yo, like we became really good friends. I ended up doing some records with him. We worked out like a little schedule, you know what I mean? And random. And so a couple of years after that, he ended up becoming John Mayer's sax player, right? But they went to Berklee together. So they knew each other. So John just reached out to him. And now he's like the sax player for like this. They're like the biggest jazz fusion band, like especially with the young jazz heads. They're called Snarky Puppy.
Yeah, I think I've heard that.
Yeah, they're huge. I mean, they've won Grammys like every year. So it's like insane, like where they, the careers went, but this building, this one apartment, it all started there. And then at one point, like there was a ad on Craigslist for a studio in Astoria it was a booth. It said vocal booth and it was like $650 they were asking a month, right? This was now, I don't know, 2002. 2003, somewhere in that range.
Wow. Yeah.
So I was like, I called my wife at work and she's always pushed me to keep doing it. So she's like, listen, she's like, here's the deal, right? Like they want first and last months, right? So let's say you're that nervous and you try it for a month and you fail. You lose $1,300 and you say you tried. At least you say you tried.
Yeah.
And what was funny at the time, Penn told Razkaz about me.
Oh,
and I did records. I did one album and one EP fully in my apartment. Because there's one album called I think it was, remember when he got fucking beat up by Game in the club?
Yeah.
It was right at that time, because I remember he came to the studio like right after I was to my house, and I'm like, fuck, man, this is so weird, because I was reading it on like, what was the sites? I can't Hip Hop Game.
Yeah, like Media Takeout.
Hip Hop Game, I remember because I was on it a couple times because of Penn. Penn had me write columns for it. And then we started writing a column together because we always just clowned on each other. Like the first time we met, I think I was hungover and I couldn't find my house keys. So I couldn't leave my apartment to go get a bacon, egg, and cheese on the corner.
Of course.
He shows up and he had like I remember he had like dried up yak on his shirt and he was hungover. And that was our first that was our first session. We just both sat there and talked for like, I don't know, like 2 hours, And then he came to my wedding and everything. It was crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, I had a crazy wedding. Yeah. Yeah, it was wild.
For people that don't know, this is Grammy Award-winning Ariel Borujow out of New York, Argentina, transplant. You heard him on Chainsmokers, Bad Boy, Madonna, T.I.,
A-Boy, MJG.
Yeah, don't let us.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you brought that one up. That's one of my favorite projects I ever did.
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Do you know that like the reason is, so I've only you got to purchase plaques, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how it works. So I only decided to purchase 4 in my life. And each of those behind me has like a significance. The gold one right there, that's 8-Ball and MJG. and that one is the Living Legends album. The reason it's significant is like that's the first album that every song on there, I tracked all the vocals.
Oh, wow.
MJG. And the reason it was one of the best albums I worked on is those dudes to this day were the most top whatever professionals I've ever worked with. They were about like, look, here's the schedule. We working Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Literally.
Wow.
And they came in and like those vocals are so like literally unmixed. We're so crispy.
Yeah, so clean.
Like, you know, because they just, you know, it was the songs too. Like they were, you know, like I forgot who produced Sean Dre. Sean Dre was his name.
Yeah.
There was who was that kid? Bangladesh. Well, yeah. Remember, he was dope. He worked on that album. He did a couple joints on that album. That was him, Sean Dre. That was his real name, Sean Dre. It was Bangladesh. That was him. So it's the same fucking dude. It's the same dude, but it was him. I remember. Yeah, but that I love. I'm glad you brought that up. Nobody ever brings up 8-Ball and JG.
Who was spinning that CD to man?
I haven't listened to it. I haven't listened to it. Yo, I don't. It's crazy. You know, I have like not done like any hip hop in like. Yeah, in like 10. It might be. I don't know. No, I don't want to say. It's probably been a few years.
Really?
Yeah, man. It's like not. I don't know. I'm gonna sound old. I don't want to.
What a segue! Just about that. Favorite era of music for you?
For me,
yeah.
It depends on that I worked on or did I
What's
enjoy?
In your span?
Yeah.
That I like.
Yeah.
For hip hop.
Not hip hop. We know you love rock.
No, I know, but I'm talking about like I guess for like it depends the genre.
Okay, so rock and hip hop.
Rock separately.
Yeah, separately. Like,
all right, so rock, I would say the mid to late 90s because it's nostalgic. It's nostalgic for me only because I'm 49. So it's really nostalgic for me. Hip hop for me was the year that I went to recording school, which was 1996. I just want you to think about what got released in 90.
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday.
Nas, it was written.
Yeah.
Tribe Called Quest. What was the Tribe album? Stressed Out Beats. Yeah, Beats Rhyme. Yeah, that one. The cool cover, the really cool cover.
Yes.
Ghostface album came out that year.
Yeah.
Yo, my roommate was my best friend since we were 5. He was going to FIT and we lived in this shithole apartment. Like we had no kitchen, so we washed our dishes in the tub. And we just used to play the shit out of that Ghostface album.
It's Ghostface. Yeah.
There was a few. There was when did Life After Death come out that year?
Yeah, that was 97, 98. Yeah.
That was 97, 98. Okay, no, that was 97 because I started working at Puffy's in 90, early 90. It was 6 months after he died.
Oh no, you serious?
Yeah.
The same year then.
Yeah, that'd be the same.
No Way Out in.
No Way Out. Yeah.
Same year.
Yeah, but I was there when we worked on Puffy's second album.
Oh man, so you never met Biggie?
No.
Damn.
And what's worse is like so I started there as an intern and then they made me an assistant after 3 days because I was already assisting, but they weren't really hiring interns.
Right.
I mean, they weren't hiring assistants, they were hiring interns. And I just wanted to get my foot in the door because I just got canned from a studio and I was looking for a job. I literally got fired like 3 days earlier. And my dad's like, you better get a job. So I put out like all these resumes and they were the only ones that called me back. And I was an intern for 3 days and I started assisting after they asked me to set
Even
up
without a position available.
Yeah. And because they needed someone who knows what they're doing because the assistant didn't show up and I was the only one that knew. And that session was Carl Thomas Summer Rain.
What?
How cool is that? Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah.
First session.
Yeah, I remember when they made that. Remember that?
Oh man, I'm tight.
With the cream cable knit sweaters.
Yeah, it was so good. It was crazy, man. And yeah, that was when I met. That was Heavy D produced. And they just were like, you know how to connect the mic? I'm like, yeah. They're like, do you know anything else? And I was like, I know the console, you know. And Carl Thomas I ended up like doing sessions with years later as an engineer because I became really cool with his manager, Rick Brown.
Oh wow.
That works.
And my first session outside of Daddy's house was Carl. I remember was like, I don't want to record there because people used to walk in and it was like a party.
Too much people.
Yeah. Oh. And then all of a sudden, like we got like Quad once, and Quad Studios used to be like full floors for one studio. And I remember the elevator door opened. I was like, "Where's the studio?" And the intern was like, "This is it." And I'm like, "What do you mean this is it?" He's like, "The floor." He's like, "You go left, right is the bedroom and the kitchen." I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "And to the left is the studio." And I'm like, "Say really?" And I remember we went, and it was the chillest sessions, like just so chill. So chill.
Okay.
Yeah, it was much different. You got to be like an engineer and make some cool decisions at times,
So what other artists, what other R&B artists did you work with?
So I assisted on, when I started at Bad Boy, my first credit was Total's second album.
Oh shit, okay.
And it was this song. It's really weird. I can't believe this. I'm not going to, this is not getting played for my kid. There was,
that was gonna be another question.
He's going to wait till he's 18 to watch this. Then he can watch. So there was a skit on that second album called Masturbation.
Yes. I remember that.
And I was helping look for the sound effects for that. Do you guys like Bad Boy Records at the time were like cinematic, like masterpieces. Like when you listen to for me, when you listen to Life After Death, the production on that is like a legit, that's in my opinion, one of the best albums of all time. Yeah. But you listen to that, and so there was always skits and all that transition musical pieces because the Hitmen, all like Stevie and Mario and those guys, they all played keys. J-Dub, Chucky, all those guys were just like church boys on keys, and they were nasty as fuck, right?
Yeah.
But I remember that was my first session. I'm helping find sound effects, and then Stevie comes in to play piano on top of it while Puffy is on the mic going, Keisha, like pretending like it's a dad, And I remember that really clearly. And then I assisted on a recording and the mix for the full song, because there, man, as an assistant, you got crazy experience because you got to see the inception of the conception of the song from the beginning, right? You got to see the writing, the beat creation, then the recording, and then the mixing, all by one assistant could do all that.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Because your job as the assistant was Ariel's doing studio A, Rashid's doing studio B. That was the plan, And then if Rashid wants to take a break, I know that you started to know all the engineers. You worked with every engineer that went in there. You know what I mean? So like every engineer that walked in there, like Rashid could take a break and I can go in and help out, Tony Maserati or Prince Charles or whoever was in there mixing at the time. So it was a cool vibe, and it was really, you got so much experience. You got to see everything, like there's songs that were never released. I remember you asked me about R&B artists. Man, they redid a Shaka Khan song with the chorus. Ain't nobody. Remember that?
Wow, yeah.
Man, Faith sang it.
Oh,
and it never came out. And it was, yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool. I remember that was the first time I assisted Tony Maserati, and I watched that. I remember him mixing the background vocals. I remember like at the end of the mix, like our job as the assistant, like he would leave and be, like they would write in like instrumental and all that, but they had to write the automation into whatever console, whether it was the SSL or the Neve in Studio A or B. So then once he wrote it in, you had to know everything. He'd be like, all right, I printed everything set up for you to print these versions. I'm going home for the night. And I used to love that, right? Because what you got to do is I would print the mixes and then I would sit there for like 2 hours. And I knew what he was doing the whole time because I'm the assistant, right? So I'm like his right-hand guy. If an EQ goes out, the module, I got to know how to unscrew that shit, pop that entire module out. And I would sit there for like 2 hours and just like, listen and solo and take out the EQs and be like, what did he do? Why did he do? Sometimes I tweak it because I could always go back on the recall. Obviously I saved it already and I'm going to pull the mix down. So sometimes I would work and dissect it just to see and that's how I was learning.
I mean, they couldn't.
You got paid shit money to work, but be a student at the same time.
Yes. Yeah.
Like that's what it was.
You're just paid intern at that point.
Well, good. Well, no, not well paid. I was making
not well paid.
Yeah, I was making under $400 a week in salary at the time over there.
Oh wow!
After taxes.
Oh wow!
And I was living like legit ramen noodles, like ramen noodles and Dinty Moore beef stew in a can.
That sounds fun. I know that.
I don't know. I mean, I'm alive still. I don't eat that shit anymore. I haven't eaten that shit in ages, but that's it. I had to stay nourished unless like, there's always a couple clients like, well, I think it was when Puffy owned like Justin's.
Oh yeah.
And he would just like one day you'd show up and there's like, there's like some dude in a chef's outfit, like setting food up in the studio. And I was like, oh, I guess like someone's coming tonight. And they're like, nah, this is for the studio. I was like, oh shit. I'm like, okay. Eating like fried catfish and shit. I'm taking like 12 pieces. Like, fuck this. Taking some home tonight.
Okay, so what's your five favorite projects that you worked on?
So we got 8 Ball.
8 Ball and MJG. This one will blow your minds. I didn't work on their project, but I spent 2 weeks in the studio with them. Was the Black Eyed Peas.
Oh, wow. Okay, I did not see that coming.
And I don't know if you know this, but Will.I.Am is like a serious hip hop head.
Yes, I do.
Like he is a serious hip hop head.
Ain't from LA, so he's serious.
No, he's down with like a lot of people. Like he's respected on that, like he gets spit. Yeah. And so I spent 2 weeks with them and it was cool because what they did was they had like a budget. Like they had a joint that came out on their first album that was like what took them to like, it was like kind of corny hip hop in a way. It was like Joints and Jam or something it was called. I forgot. But anyway, so they had this single out and somehow it propelled them somewhere. I think that Will was just so talented as a producer that like he got in with the A&Rs and people started chattering about him. He's really like on another level talent, right? So I walk in and they had all these they had like a Rhodes, they had a fucking Whirly, and all like drum kit, all set up, and we had to mic everything and get it ready. So anytime he wants to just go out in the live room and record, then that's what he's doing.
Oh wow!
And mind you, this was tape at the time.
Yeah. Oh wow! Yeah.
So you got to be quick on the trigger finger, and he needs to punch in. You better know how to punch in. But so that's 2.
Yeah.
3 is something like most people don't know. So when I had the studio in Queens, the one with the booth that I moved into, obviously it did well. And I had this group of producers that all were part of, like, it's all extension of the Poison Pen stuff. So in New York, there used to be these beat battles that happened they were at the New Eurekan Cafe.
Okay.
They were called, I'm not going to remember right now because
it's cool.
But it was like a very well-known beat battle. And through that, through that and Poison Pen, I ended up meeting this producer named DJ Static, who's producing for Pen. And Static and I became like very close, like to the point that like he would just come and hang out and just listen. I'd listen to beats. I'd let him make beats in my apartment. Like we just hung out, ate dinner, he'd eat dinner with my wife and I, like we just let people just hang out. And he was working with an artist named Phase One.
Oh yeah.
And Phase was, to me, I worked on all those records at the time, and it was like a labor of love for me. Like I wasn't, at the time there was like no money involved. It was like, you know what? Here's my commitment. Okay. I want to see this collective grow. And it was like a collective of producers. It was this producer from Harlem named Dub Z. And Dub, nobody knows about him, but he's done joints that if you Google him and look up the records he's produced, you'd be like, oh my God, he did that? Like, a lot of like Sean P, but like all of a sudden you'd hear like just obscure people you wouldn't even imagine, right? Wow. Anyway, so they had this collective of really nerdy producers to the point that they studied Dilla. They studied, when they were studying producers, I was producing at that time and before that, and I left the entire business because of that side of it, because I had so many beats stolen from me, and there's nothing you can really do to independent artists. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I just I wanted to be like, they say Dr. Dre mixes his own stuff. Like, yeah, he mixes it, but he has an engineer that probably gets it to a certain point, and then he comes in and does what he needs to Dre it out, right?
Yeah, right.
I wanted to be that guy that's like, no, I mix my own shit. Like, you can come in the studio and hang out and watch me. I may not make 1,000 beats a year, but I'll make like 10 good ones, and they're going to sound better than yours. That was kind of like my thing. But I had so much stuff stolen that I was like, you know what? Like, artists, and I was just like, I'm good. I'm done with this, So I just stopped pursuing that shit and, just continued with mixing and working. So when I was working with Phase, they got me back into it a little bit just because of the history and the knowledge I was learning about, like, Dilla not quantizing drums. So I'm like, now it made me go back to my MPC, and I'm like turning the wheel, like turning all fucking quantize off 16th and 8th notes. And I'm like, fuck, he's got to get that right on by hand, and it wasn't so simple. So I started studying them, but they were making these dope records. And every Friday night I would clear the studio out, and it was just for us. We'd do that. Then we would go out to eat and hang out and then go home, and we just made it like a ritual. So those times, that collective, there was a lot of artists that popped from that little thing, but the music we were making was really, really, really fucking like really good hip hop. And at the time it was a bigger collective because one of the other assistants at Daddy's house was one of the original founders of the EOW open mic in New York City. So I used to go to those at Baby Jupiter, like when they first opened. So everybody was kind of connected to the scene in New York at the time, and the hip hop scene. And that's what was really dope about it. Like there was all these people that are interconnected. So that project was number 3. Number 2 is the band that I mixed for the masterclass. The album called Supernova that dropped a few months ago was probably my favorite project that I ever mixed, because it was the first time artists were like, here's the rough, but just whatever you feel creative wise, just do it. We just want the vocals a little distorted, whatever you want to do.
Wow.
So that gave me flexibility, gave me say. I built a relationship with these guys when they reached out to me over another artist. That's how I get all my business, has always been word of mouth. And they hit me up like, yo, we want to work with you. Here's our single. We don't have money, but once we do, we'll reach out. I'm like, man, I've been hearing that for 25 years, right? So, and out of the blue, I get a message, yo, we got money now. And we started working basically. I mean, that's the funny part of it, but we worked we ended up working, we built this relationship, and we did an EP together. Then we did that album. And then the last one, right? That was 4. The last one, my friend who's an entertainment attorney, Josh Kamen, he represents Q Beats, he Teddy Swims. We used to have a label together in 2012, and the label was because I was so sick of hip hop that I wanted to go back into it, and I wanted to just work on shit that I like, right? And I was like, whether it makes a lot of money, I don't care. I got this studio, I want to do it, right? Because at the time I had moved my operation and was running Stadium Red in Harlem. So I ended up signing this group that was bought to me by Monica Talavera, who managed Tribe Called Quest. And it was a group called Tanya Morgan.
Right.
And Tanya Morgan was these 2 guys, Vaughn P. and Don Will. Vaughn was from Brooklyn, and Don is from Ohio. And they put out an album called Brooklynati years around 2010. But remember when they had the Apple charts, the iTunes charts? They hit #1 on the hip hop Apple iTunes, and they was independent. So they started raising eyebrows like, oh, they're the next Native Tongues. And Questlove started talking about them on the blogs and all this shit. So I was like, I knew about them. So one day I was living in Harlem at the time on 120th Street, and there used to be this, it's still there. There was a restaurant on the corner. No, it's not. It's now a bakery, but it used to be this, like, I don't know, some Italian joint. It was called Setapani. And she hit me up. She's like, I'm with the guys from Tanya Morgan, do you want to meet them? And I went over there, we had a drink, and I was like, yo, I fucking love you guys, man. I think you guys are dope. And Monica just flat out goes, why don't they be the first artist on your label? And the label was called Imprint 180, because we wanted to do the opposite, the 180 of what other people were doing. I wanted to really bring back the development aspect. So we did this album, and I encourage you to listen to it because the production, the musicians, the artist on there, it's called Rubber Souls. The guy who did the album art is pull the favorites, the guy that did Blueprint 3 album. And Josh pulled that. But the album was produced by a producer named Sixth Sense, who was this like really dope independent producer who happened to just be in with people because he's a fucking Six is one of the most, I think he was one of the most talented, one of the most talented hip hop producers. And he put together the album. I facilitated the studio and said, this is open to your disposal for anything you need. Media, mastering, we had a mastering, we had Ricardo up there. Whatever you guys need, we got it. Let's just make a really good album. So we did an album, and we got like live bass from Nate Jones, who played with D'Angelo. Like, I mean, when I tell you it's like a real album, there used to be this girl, I don't know where she went. Her name was Nitty Scott, from Brooklyn. Nitty Scott MC she went under. She was like, she was popping when the blogs were happening. And I don't know what happened to her, but she's on it. This kid, Spree Wilson, is on it. Just random people I can't even remember, but we put together like a cohesive album. And that to me might be the top one because the mixing, we got reached out by Tommy Boy Records by the vice president, Rosie, I forgot her last name. She reached out. I thought it was a joke. Go up to the offices. She sits me down in the office. She goes, "So you had something to do with this?" And I was like, "Yep." She's like, "I got to tell you something." She's so New York. She's like, "I was in the beach in Long Island, Long Island, right?"
Yeah, I was going to say, you gotta say it.
And she goes, "And I'm listening to this project and I close my eyes and from start to finish, I'm not sure the last time I heard an album that I make sense like this." And
Wow.
and they offered us a deal, but the deal just wasn't in our cards, you know? And there's some parts that I would have loved, like just to be able to say the Tommy Boy imprint because of came out of the Tommy Boy world, you know? But at the same time, like Josh was an attorney and now he's one of the best attorneys, right? But he, at the time, I trusted his judgment. He's like, nah, you know? And the project to me is one of the best. Like every time I send it to like industry people that like just love hip hop, because I'm not looking for anything from it. Like, what the fuck are you gonna do? Just listen to it, add it to your repertoire to listen while you're driving your fucking expensive car. And you know, so I always get remarks like, when did this come out? You know, and it's just really good. It's like a really good hip hop, like, I don't know, concept album, I guess you can call it.
Wow.
You know, string transitions on one song, like morphing into a beat, like crazy shit. Bonus track like 30 seconds after the end, you know?
Oh, wow.
And we made the vinyl. The vinyl's up there. It's white. And the reason it was because there's an ode to the Beatles to it, because the Beatles.
I was gonna say they have album's called Rubber Soul.
Right. So this is Rubber Soul, right? And this is, and they also had the white album, so we decided to make the actual vinyl white.
Oh,
I never opened it.
dope.
My shit's not open, just so you know, it's not opened.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the top 5.
That's fine.
You know that I've done other things, but to me, like, there's a difference between being a part of something and being a hired gun because someone knows you, but you weren't picked to do it by, like, let's say the artist, you know? The Super Taste guys, we're at an art, we understand each other artistically now, that it's a different relationship. So they trust my artistic judgment. So that's when the relationship, that's when you start getting in past the honeymoon phase, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we were talking about country grammar yesterday.
Oh my God. I got a whole, oh my God. Nelly?
Yeah, bruh.
Hold on.
Talk to me, man.
There's nothing. I'll just tell you the story. There was a friend of mine who we're not in touch at all anymore, but we not grew up. We met in high school. He was from Ringwood, New Jersey, and I used to play at the time. I was like, you know, I grew up like as a weird kid. Like I was into like metal and hip hop.
Yeah.
Like I was into Rick Rubin. Like that was Run DMC and Slayer. And then
I mean, it fits though.
Yeah, then I lost my mind. But so Kenny and I met in high school and we ended up going to recording school around, I think I was a little ahead of him. I was about 1.5 years ahead of him because he was 2 years ahead of him and he was 2 years younger. But we started at the same time. His first assistant gig was the entire recording of Country Grammar. I used to go, listen,
come on, man.
I swear on my son. I swear on my son.
Why are you giving me? You lying?
No, I swear to you. I swear to you. You can quote me. Listen, I can tell you who the recording engineer was, what studio it was, in Unique. Like it was, and then Kenny was really smart. He was a young whiz who like knew computers and can rip them apart. You know, I hated those kids. And no offense if any of you are, but I hate you. So Kenny was Kenny figured out Pro Tools when Pro Tools was early because everyone was using it. They were like, wait, if you just throw the vocals in there and edit them that way, you could do clean versions. So they started paying dudes like $85 an hour to do clean edits. This motherfucker was 19, sitting. They took him. He was at Unique Studios, which I don't know if you guys remember what Unique was, or Unique Studios was like the original, like Murder Inc. started out of there. Like Tupac used to. I mean, it was like that studio. And when you walked in there and you smelled it, like, you know, New York studios have a certain smell. When you walk in, like, I can close my eyes, you can kidnap me, put me in a studio and like open blindfold. I'd be like, I'm at Unique. You know, like seriously, like I remember going to visit Kenny and like he was assisting, and then all of a sudden they were mixing it with Rich Trevally, who was mixing all of Trackmaster stuff. Like, so he did all, it was written, he did like everything.
That's crazy.
And remember, Trackmasters were like, they were like the fucking any hit record was Trackmasters, right, at the time. And Rich basically had one of the rooms in Hit Factory locked out. So Kenny gets brought over to Hit Factory as a 19-year-old kid, is in the live room, set up on a Pro Tools rig with headphones, doing clean edits as they're finishing the mixes.
That's
Country Grammar.
That is insanity.
I can't believe you just. So, what were you gonna say about Country Grammar?
Man, we talk about rap so much. We talk about music. We love music in general.
Of course,
like
that's why we do what we do, right?
Yeah,
that's the foundation.
Yeah. So, like, Country Grammar, we were talking about the how you say, like, it's considerable how alike Country Grammar and 50's Get Rich is. Like, I don't know.
Wait, which one? The last
Country Grammar and Get Rich or Die Trying.
Oh, 50.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so what? There's a difference between the two.
Huge difference. But they're so alike in how, one, how unique they are, and two, how great the albums were, and what they did separately was very the same.
All right, are you guys all from the East Coast?
Yeah, we're from Brooklyn.
All right, great. If you happen to walk into the studio as like, I was 21 at the time, and you walk in and it's not mixed or anything, and you hear a chorus being looped, and you hear andele, mami, ei. So imagine you walk into a studio and you hear that, and we were like, what is this? You know what I mean? Now, to be all fair, like, it could be that I was, listening to a stripped down version, and you're hearing it raw, and I wasn't a part of like the conceptual part of it.
Right.
It's a different story, but like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
But it went on to sell Diamond.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is. Like we were saying, I went ahead of myself, okay? Like, hear me out. I went ahead of myself. I said Country Grammar is the top 5 rap album, but I reneged it. I said maybe top 10.
Hold on. Do you think there's a difference between rap and hip hop?
There is a huge difference.
Okay, so then I won't disagree with you if you would have said that. Maybe if it's based on sales and. But did it change then at what point did it change the culture?
Right.
Literally said that. It's like the Steph Curry of rap at that time. People weren't doing a lot of things that happened, like with his successes between him and 50, and then the successes in the club and Air Force Ones and grills. It turned into, now, we're selling to, it went from backpacks and boomboxes to jewelry and rims, in that span of years, just from 2000 or 2002, 3?
It was a big, but you got to remember, the labels were starting to give buku dollars to these guys to do anything they wanted. I'm not going to name names, but I remember an artist just I'd be in the studio for 16 hours. 9 to 11 of those hours were spent on listening to 34 records you got in the stash while drinking and dancing and girls and everything coming in. And then you get a notification from the boss that your budget has depleted. And you're like, what do you mean? I wasn't recording. I was in the studio just playing my music. There was an engineer there. There was an assistant. Time was from that time to that time.
Yeah.
It would just...
Yeah, using it.
That, if you're not educated about the business, we're not going to do it here.
Yeah.
And if you fail, you're a write-off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy. And I think that kind of like, you know, that fed into it, just the amount of money that was given. Like, you know, engineers were charging like $7,500 a mix, like nothing.
Back it was nothing. Yeah. And how much songs on the album? 19 or 21?
No, back then I don't think it was that many. I think at that
on Country Grammar.
Country Grammar, it's a lot of on that album specifically. It's like, it's
I think it was like 20 or 20 things. Because I think
let's
Get Rich had 19.
Hold on a second. Country Grammar had, drum roll. Country Grammar had, oh shit. No, so 16, not including the outro and the intro, so 15.
Okay.
The intro's like probably some bullshit. I don't know. Yeah, Nelly with Cedric the Entertainer on the intro, which I remember. This is why I can't believe you guys just brought this up. By the way, I just want to say this is the best. I haven't had a hip hop conversation with anyone this deep in like, it's been a long time. Lately, I've been talking to my boy because we were like, yo, he sent me yesterday the Big L.
Oh yeah, that came out.
Yeah, but then I heard the song with Big L this morning with Big L and Mac Miller.
Yeah.
And Big L, you can just tell that that's not like, you know, you could tell it was play. I think I can hear it place. Like it doesn't feel like, you know, it doesn't feel like it's his bop at all. That's just, you know, that's just that. But then the Mobb Deep album was good.
Yeah, Infinite.
That brought me home.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That one sounds so organic. It like to me more than a lot of posthumous albums. Yeah, because it sounds like he was
because Havoc said he had a lot of that just there because they
just think about all the outtakes that they have. They can't. It's not. Listen, it's not just like, you know, their guy dies and it's like, all right, let's go make money now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What happens is there's an estate and there's a lot of like business people that are like, okay, everyone, let's regroup for a moment. Havoc has kids. Prodigy has family. Like people need to get taken care of. This is how I think it works because you see how it comes out. Like Mac Miller too. New Mac Miller shit. New shit. Like all out today or yesterday. So you see that. Like I just think that they're basically just like elongating it to an extent just to give people like I think so. I think that would be the smart thing. Yeah, I feel like that's what's happening. All those are there any new Tupac albums like from
No. I don't think they'll ever do that.
Yo, have you guys been seeing these AI with Mr. Rogers and
man? I've seen.
I cry every night. You know how they have those memes and it's like, you know, when you and your wife are in bed and you should be having that alone time, but there's always that one person laughing, watching videos. I'm like, I have like tears coming down. Like I saw the one with Jeffrey Dahmer and I was almost
what? I didn't see that one.
Oh my God, he gets something like, oh man, the Jeffrey Dahmer one is so stupid. It's crazy. I'm laughing now because I'm just thinking back at the one like Tupac came and like showed him a bag of weed. He's like, and Mr. Rogers goes, "Oh, that's that good shit right there." AI is are you guys down with AI?
I'm not a fan of AI. I'm a fan of. I'm a fan of the application of it being entertaining, But once you break that line of, is this really the person or not? That's my problem.
Define real.
Really, like,
give me an example.
So,
because I'm a devil's advocate right now.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So, like, I'm a huge fan of science. So I love Neil deGrasse Tyson. I could watch hours and hours and hours. So there was a video that he released where they were like, there was a video that he had to speak about because in the video he said, I think we have enough evidence now we know the world is flat. And that's how the video starts. And then Neil deGrasse Tyson takes his phone away and it's him. And he's like, that wasn't me, guys. But everyone from Terry Crews, they kind of contacted him, was like, did you really say this? And that's the thing for me, the AI, that's where the AI for me is the problem. I mean, obviously it's either you're stupid or you're not, but if you are able to be fooled that this is real, it kind of can change, trajectory of a lot of things. Like even for like, if you want to go political route, you can do that too. If they have, but I'm not going to go, we don't talk about political stuff.
No. Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, I think they did that in G2.
Yeah, in G2. Did you see G2?
What's that? Who?
G2 with Viola Davis, when they basically, like AI stand-in, like how they do the video game stand-in with the balls. They made them say like A, B, C, D. And they made like fake news with all the heads of the.
Oh, listen, all of that. But let me ask you a question. Here's a devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Do you think the internet's bad?
Oh, yeah.
It's forever bad. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
Do you think it's bad for kids?
Yes.
Yes, I definitely do.
Okay. A lot of repercussions can happen from that, right?
Right.
Do you think that there's good ways to use the internet, right?
100%.
You think there's bad ways to use the internet, right?
Yes.
It's the same thing with AI.
Yes.
So I'll give you an example. So yeah, you're going to see a bunch of shit. My son, 10 years old, could watch a video and be like, bro, it's AI. Like literally. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, look, you see like the jaw? He goes,
yeah.
And I'm like, that would have fooled me. That's how I know I hit old age, right? So like I got my kid telling me that that's AI. So then when I see it, I'm like, okay. But like, for instance, right? Do you know who Gary V is?
Yep. Yes.
All right.
Yeah, Gary.
Oh. Yeah, he's the motivator guy who's really smart, and he basically like built his empire. He started selling like used shit on like going to Goodwills and garage sales and shit, right? He said something, he's like, I'm using AI as my partner. I talk to AI. I'll have a whole dialogue with AI and it'll respond to me in a way, but it makes me think. So I'll give you an example. I give feedback to all my students on mixing, right? They submit a project and then I'll go in and say, so-and-so, great job on your deliverables. Your screenshots look good. Now on to the mix. Overall, I felt like your drums are. Let me break it down. Drums. Not enough transients in the snare. And then I'll go line by line. So overall, you did a great job. Just please see my note. So I write chicken scratch real quick, right? I do it like from the gut. So I don't have to now worry about thinking about exactly how perfect I got to write it. Then what I do, and I've been doing this, is I'll look at it. Might edit it for a few seconds, like, yeah, I fucked up on this word, the punctuation, whatever. And I'm a decent, good writer, right? Man, I throw that shit into Chat GPT, and once it starts getting to know your language, do you know how fast my grading goes now?
Okay.
And we're encouraged. Listen, am I cheating? Am I cheating? Am I getting paid for my writing skills or am I getting paid for my mixing skills?
So I was going to bring the AI thing back to music. Would you?
That's a whole nother conversation, but we can have that because it's the same type of reasoning now.
Okay, so like you remember like when we were in school, because we're all grown. When they first allowed you to use the TI, the Texas Instruments calculators. At a point, you're more learning a system than learning the math. So, like in music, are we turning So would you like or dislike basically us turning into IT techs versus being good at the craft?
No,
Like,
I think so.
Mhm.
So I think in general, right? I think in general, it's the same thing with anything else out there. There'll just be more motherfuckers making music.
Yeah.
And the odds of making it will seem greater because there's more motherfuckers making music.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How many kids play soccer?
Yeah.
How many kids make it into soccer?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
So you don't think that will raise the standard? Because if I can play drums and I have AI format drums and put it in, I mean, somebody like you would know. But if my peers play drums at church, but they don't sound as good as my AI drums, how does that?
Because real talent will just win. Real talent's going to win because it's going to be someone in your church that can play the fucking drums better than your AI drums. They're going to have a swing that your fucking AI drums ain't going to have.
Can't replicate.
No, it's going to be the difference between nobody can replicate Dilla because your kick won't land exactly on that 0.05 millisecond of that grid. It's just not. That was his feel at that moment. He can't replicate it. So I don't feel. So I'll give you an example. I use AI a lot to mix, right? I use Isotope Ozone 12 on my stereo, right? So if I click learn, it'll give it to me. And what their market, a lot of their market is the kids that are making their home music. You put it on, and they're like, sounds so much better than mine because it's looking for like a dark mix, too bright. It does all this shit. So it takes my mix and it does something to it, right? And then what I do is I go through it and I take out, like, let's say there's five modules that it detected that it needs. I take all of them off and I start with the limiter first because it makes it louder. And I'm like, does the limiter sound good? And I'll go through the different settings and try different ones. Then I'll work backwards to another one. Does that enhance my mix? No, it doesn't enhance my mix. So then I just delete it. And then if I need to tweak, I tweak it. Most of the time you do. So I'm using AI in mixing to help me towards the finish line to give me a polish, but I still need to have the knowledge and the skill and the experience to say that's too much high end. And I do this with my students. I do it for them and I'll be like, what's wrong with this? One kid's like, yo, the hi-hats now are way too sizzly. That's correct. So what do you think we should do? First thing on, let's take out the EQ. Is the EQ needed on that ozone? No? Well, we like what it did on the low end. Great. Put it back in, bypass the high end, leave the low end. How's that sound? Let's add a little bit more high end. Now you're working with the AI as your assistant.
Instead of a little bit of isotope, little ozone, little God particle, or little
artificial intelligence is artificial assistance, in my opinion. So I'm using it. Like, you know how many times I wrote like a letter and I needed to send it to someone, and my wife is super, super duper smart. And I'd be like, babe, could you just look over this email? And she's got like 1,000 things going. Like, she's like, I don't have fucking time to look at your email. Like, now we don't even talk anymore. No, I'm kidding. No. But like, that's what I'm saying. So to your point, you're right. There's going to be a lot of shitty things done with AI. There's also going to be a lot of funny things, Mr. Rogers, with AI.
Yes, right? I agree, bro.
There's going to be a lot more useful things. And do you know what they say? They say this generation, my son's generation, and the generation before him, the more they understand AI, the more millionaires in America, or more millionaires.
I heard that.
And it's so true because you need to figure out how to use AI to do the think about it. Think about it. This is how I really understood it. A CEO, what's their role?
To dictate or
and to hire the same. Is the CEO like great at finances?
No. More than likely, no. That's a CFO.
So he's using AI and humans to get what he needs to run his company. So just look at it like that. Except you'll be able to do shit on your own that you were never thought would be possible.
Yeah. That's true.
So that's how I look at AI. And it's like almost like, and also take it down to the rudimentary, like Pro Tools. When Pro Tools came out, so many engineers were like, fuck digital, that shit ain't gonna fly, analog all day. And then those guys started losing work because all of a sudden their mixes are getting done faster. And more importantly, like, yo, we don't even need to finish that night. He can just save it and then we could open it up a month later. And it's the exact thing, you know. And then those engineers that couldn't do that because they're like, well, you got to pay me because it takes me 4 hours to print through my analog gear, you know what I mean? And like they started losing work because we started charging less. They were still charging somewhere here
and doing more.
You know what I mean? So for me, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna figure out how to use AI to help me. You know what I mean? Like the other day, I came back, like just this morning, I woke up, I had a thing on my arm. I thought it was staph because I do jujitsu. And like, I was like, fuck, I got staph infection. It looked all weird. And then it was like a bite. Like I took a picture of it in Chat GPT.
I can't stand this dude, Ariel.
What? Think about it. What are you going to do? I don't have time, man. I got a soccer game. I'm either going to urgent care or the soccer game. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have fucking time to do research on Google? No, but Google's dope now because they added Gemini in there. So it's
that's the picture.
Listen, use it to make money.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Stop paying attention. There's gonna be bullshit all day. You know what I mean? Although some of the ones they do on Trump are real funny, so I laugh at that shit. But like, you know, don't laugh at the ones that are funny and just, you know what I mean? And just go on with the ones that aren't, you know, and make money. Use it to your advantage.
We're not trying to take up all your time, but I do want to ask you, we never get to talk to anyone that currently does jujitsu, right?
Oh.
And I was gonna have somebody else on, this is a while ago, and he teaches jujitsu.
Oh.
But you watch any of the fights, the MMA and stuff like that?
I was in martial arts as a kid. I got picked on a little bit, like when I was younger, for like just not speaking the language, you know?
Yeah.
And then when I was about 15, I started it was supposed to be, you know, no one knew what anything was at the time. There was no MMA, and it was a karate school, but the guy was this Israeli guy who taught Krav Maga with karate, but I was 15. And I was there for a bit, and that's when the UFC first started. So when it first came out, I remember we were all talking in the school about like, yo, this guy didn't even punch nobody. He was fucking just choking him and all that. So long story with that one, my instructor ended up, he was in UFC 10 and UFC 13, got the junk killed from him. And because he didn't have the ground, he went against, I don't know if you guys saw that movie with The Rock that's coming out. The Smashing Machine.
Yes.
He got beat by Mark Kerr. Mark Kerr, like, it was a good fight, but then Mark Kerr got him in like side, and like those wrestlers know how to distribute their weight really well. You know, like once they pin your hip, and then you have him who was like roided the F out and but forget about the roids. He was skillful as shit for the beginning. Skill above. Remember, Hoist Gracie won all that shit. He was 170 pounds. But he was heavy. He knew how to make himself heavier. But man, he had him inside and just elbow right in the fucking eye, man. And then he gets up. I remember when he came to the school after that. It was wild. But anyway, so I didn't get into. So I took that in high school, a little Muay Thai with his brother who came from Europe. First time I ever got knocked out with him. It was crazy. And so I went to. Then years later, I got into the city. When I was living in Harlem, I got into a karate school. I couldn't find anything in Harlem. this motherfucker that I was training with, do you remember like those old fucking like video old school movies with Show Nuff and all that stuff? Like,
Of course,
so
man.
listen, Leroy,
That's our generation.
this was the real Leroy. This dude was like in his late 60s. His knuckles, born and raised in Harlem, knuckles were round, like big round knuckles. I walked in there was nobody in there. I just saw karate, literally karate. That was it, right? Walk in. I was just walking. It was around 116th or something, right under on Park Avenue, right under the train. And I like walk in and I'm like, what do you guys do here? He's like, karate. You want to train? And I'm like, what's the price? He's like, what do you want to pay? I was like, I don't know. I'll give you $150 a month. He goes, it's just me and you starting tomorrow. I'm like, okay. So it's just me and him training. But then my finger, I can't split my finger. This one.
Oh, wow.
Like I can't, it took me like 6 years to be able to get my wedding ring back on. I could do like this, West Coast, bitch. But I ended up quitting him because I started taking Krav Maga again, but like this time with like this real dude. He was like one of the original dudes and brought it to New York City. But then after I got like my second level, whatever it was, I got it. They allowed me to take ground fighting. This was 2011, and they allowed me to take ground fighting for self-defense, it was called, because their whole thing is you don't want to grapple. You want to, if you're on the ground, you better figure out how to get on your feet real quick because you don't know if there's 3 people coming after you, right?
Right.
So they had this guy from Henzo Gracie headquarters in New York come and teach us. And afterwards he goes, you guys want to roll? I'm like, what does that mean? They're like, you're just going to go full blast and just try to choke each other out. And once someone taps, you let go and you're respectful about it. Man, at the time it was crazy. You're just like, you don't know the heart of it. So you're going in and you're trying to use all your muscle and your everything. And then after like 2 classes of that, I quit Krav Maga and I went and signed up for jiu-jitsu, and I've been doing it, and it's the best thing for anyone who's in business, music, creative, all of that. It's the best because look, I'm not one of these people that's like, you can fight can I beat everyone up? No, it's not.
That's not the point.
One punch, you're out. Like, I don't care who you are. Kimbo Slice got fucking knocked out. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just one punch. But the difference is like, if you miss and we get to the ground, there's going to be a disadvantage no matter how big you are.
Yeah.
Because I know how to keep you down by just distributing your weight. And I can feel 100 pounds heavier on top of you than you've ever felt. Like, that's the difference because it's a science to it. You know what I mean? And there's steps. They're like, first thing is secure position, right? So if I have like mount and I want to like secure the position, so I would take my legs and bring your arms up this way, because if you can't bring your arms, you have no weight, and I'm on top of your chest. You might flare your legs over me behind, but you're not going to do nothing to me, right?
Right.
Someone who knows jujitsu knows the first thing you do is you push the person down to the hip. You might take a hit or two, but your job is to bump them up bump them, because now what's going to happen is they lose balance and they're forced to put their hand on the ground. And once their hand's on the ground, I got a Kimura, I got this, I got that. I'm going right for your limb. And 2 arms that I do is way stronger than your 1 arm. So like, there's like all the science behind jujitsu that to me is like, and it's like mixing. I love how it equates for mixing for me.
Jiu-jitsu is just like another form of engineering.
It is, because you're learning little steps on how to manipulate someone's body against them.
Yeah.
Slowly. So when you see 2 guys roll, or 2 girls and they understand jujitsu, it's always slow because it's human chess. They're like, oh shit, she just grabbed my collar. She could either do a loop choke and bring my head down and loop it in. She has that. She can posture. As long as you have a collar, the whole point of jujitsu, a lot of it is controlling someone's posture. If you can't sit up, you don't have strength. If you're hunched and I have control of you, you can't move. Like, it's not like that. If I'm on your back, the chances of you winning is not good, because now you're protecting your neck. So there's so many different layers to it. But again, it's not a safety net that you're invincible. Like,
right, yeah.
I'm 165 pounds. I don't care what I know. I'm not fighting no 300-pound dude. Like, if he's coming after me, I'm going to be like, but most of the time, I'm 49. I don't want to fight.
Yeah, you're not getting into those.
What am I doing? I got a kid, and there's been like once or twice that I was like, it's always walking away just to be like, you're good, man. You got me. Yeah. You got me. Congratulations.
Add the congratulations. You played yourself. You gotta add that.
If that added a little bit to your ego, I hope you have a great day and it made your day,
Yeah.
So that's really it. But I love it. I encourage anyone to take it, I really do. I know a lot of people in the music business and entertainment, a lot of people in New York City take it that are in entertainment in general, and it's great. Now I start seeing that like high school buddies of mine are all doing it, and it's in their 40s. To me, it's like amazing. It's like it's amazing.
Something you can focus on that.
It's really the only time that you can't focus on nothing when someone is trying to choke you. And it's 100%. Remember, it is 100 because you're not punching and kicking. So the other thing is the confidence is you start feeling. Let's say you have a class of like 20 people. You have the option to roll with different body types. You can start on the feet. You can start on the ground. You can say, hey, you know what? My back defense is a little weak.
Yeah, start
on my back and just let me work. You could get like a gable grip and we'll start from there, right? So like, things like that. But you feel the weight. So like one of my boys in there, Pat, is like, I don't know, 260. He's like literally 100 pounds heavier than me. So the game that you have to fight with a bigger guy like that, who's like 6 foot something, 260, is different than, you fight a guy that's like more of my size, who's like 22, and those motherfuckers are doing cartwheels around me, literally. So you just learn different body types that, so like, God forbid, on the street, someone comes and most fights, they'll try to tackle you to the ground. You've been there, done that. Your heart rate doesn't react so quickly. So you're more calm and you're able to see things a little bit slower than them to say, oh, so if someone goes in on a double leg takedown, if they are looking down and they go like this, just snatch their neck and bring them down, put them in a guillotine, and you know what I mean? Like, that's it. As long as your head doesn't hit the pavement first, you're good, which could happen. Jiu-jitsu, no jiu-jitsu, it'll hit the pavement. So you got to know how to fall properly, bring your chin in, so all the little things like that is what I love about it. And I've been on and off of it since 2012.
Okay. 13 years.
But like on and off, like all my friends are black belts that I started with.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So where you at now?
I'm a blue belt, but I'm a really like I'm good. I'm good. Like, I've been doing it long enough. Good means that like you could hang. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could easily hang. I'll get a submission. I'll get submitted like everyone else. Like, but when you're training with people, what you're looking for is like, okay, like, I know my right side is like very weak in certain positions. So I'm going to favor that side a little bit today. And even if I know that if I roll with Dan or Luke or one of my partners, I know that they might have a good cross face. I'll take the risk just to learn where my holes are. You know what I mean? So that's how, if you approach training like that, then, but then you got guys that come in and spaz the fuck out. One guy tried to rip my knee a couple times and I was like, yo, bro, like,
that's not what this is for.
Yeah, it's definitely like,
I'm trying to be able to walk, like, I won't, so there's a respect, but then after you roll with that person once, you're like, all right, he's a dick. I'm not going to roll with him again. Like I'm not there to prove like I'm good. I'm confident with who I am as a person. Plus I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, I have my life. Like, I don't give a fuck. When I leave there, it's like meditation.
Yeah, exactly.
I call it man meditation. Like, you just get really like everyone's really in this flow state, and then you leave there and you conquer the world after,
Yeah.
Why, you thinking about doing it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I always wanted to. Like, for like, it was a very short period of time. This guy was, I used to work in Flushing. It was called USA Pools. That was like directly in the middle of like the park. And this dude he used to teach me Aikido.
Oh, I did Aikido, but Aikido is...
It's I don't want to say it's trash, but it's trash. But growing up, it was like me and my brother, me and Mel, not so much Jay as much. Like when Jay was younger, he had no choice; he had to watch it too. But we were Steven Seagal fans, you know.
Yo, when I saw those movies, I was like, "That's what I want to do."
You know, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So you understand, and that's the thing. When you're growing up, you're like, "Man, that looks awesome," because you know everybody looks weightless.
You're like, I don't have to punch him. If they see me throwing some 400-pound dude in one direction, no one's gonna mess with me.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what is it that drew me to it. That drew our dad. Like our dad was the reason why we loved it. So, you know, that's for the most part. I think jiu-jitsu it's one of the most, besides boxing, it's one of the most meaningful defense. Because no street fight is going to be what you expect it's going to be.
No street fight, but the only guarantee is like, I'm not tussling with a boxer, right? If I'm tussling with a boxer, you do what Hoist used to do. Remember when he fought what was that boxer? He fought that boxer who had he had to wear a glove on his left hand, one of the first Hoist Gracie fights. But what he was doing was he would kick forward at his knee. Yes. Boxers have a staggered stance, right? Mm-hmm. They have a staggered stance. So he's going for the knee. And then as the guy's knee buckled a little bit, the moment he went back a little bit, shoot in on him. And after that, you take the base out of the boxing. Well, to an extent. Look, in the ring, yes, there was a lot of padding. And to a black belt, it's I would rather not mess with a jiu-jitsu black belt, like for many reasons. For many reasons, like they could kill, literally, like a punch is cool, like you could die from a punch. They can literally like suffocate you and like put you 6 feet under within
seconds,
30-40 seconds.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. But like, you okay with being around a lot of sweaty men rubbing up against you?
Yeah, I'm
like,
cool, man.
You know? I'm just saying, man, like you got to be comfortable because like, it's like sometimes, man, like someone blows a fart in your direction, you're like, what the fuck? You know, like someone will get a knee on belly and you're like, what the fuck was that? And it happens, you know, like, you know, how many times, like, I mean, I've seen like boxing things where like dudes shit themselves, you know, because you get.
I've seen that too, yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd rather a fart than the latter. You know, but do it, man. I'm telling you, like, all jokes aside, it is you don't need to lift weights. You don't need to fucking run. You do like all body weight shit, and it is the most. You never felt like this in your entire life. Anyone I say this to, like, it really is a very cerebral experience when you start understanding the movements of the body, and when you start feeling weight, like your weight on someone and someone else's weight, and you feel like, oh, they're a little left heavy, so what I'm going to do is slide their hips in that direction, their head's going to fall here, I'm going to push them and come on top of mount, watch this, and then I see it and you do it real quick. You start seeing things like that because you're breathing, you're understanding breath work, and then you feel so good when you leave there. You're like, life ain't going to be as hard as fucking 260-pound Pat trying to smother me for 6, you know. And it's crazy because you do an hour class with some positional sparring, and then you do usually 5 rounds, 6 minutes apiece.
Oh, yeah. I mean, those 6 minutes is probably hell, but yeah.
When you first start, it's like a round or 2 if you're lucky. You see people doing 6 rounds, you're like, or 5 rounds, you're like, what the fuck? And then there's people that stay after, they're like, oh, you got another like 4 on you? And like, but these dudes are competitors. There's a lot of competitors at my school. They're traveling to Vegas coming up.
Oh, wow.
The Worlds, yeah. So it's like one of the kids is 14. He's like a world champ.
Oh, wow.
I haven't rolled with him yet, but I rolled with one 14-year-old kid that him and his dad visited from the UK. You always get like travelers because jujitsu is so world, like it's a connection, you know? People are so cool in that sport. And you just meet new friends. And then all of a sudden, like this kid showed up. He was 14. I was like, holy shit, man. I'm like, I just got beat by a 14-year-old kid. But he's 14, been training since he was.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So imagine moving around before you even know how to fucking.
Yeah.
You just learned how to piss not long before.
Yeah.
In the toilet, you know, and now you're doing jujitsu. Imagine learning that from a young age.
Yeah, your limbs don't even move the same.
There's a bunch of there's these two kids now that you got to look them up on YouTube. They're very famous in jujitsu. They're 21. They're called the Rotolo brothers.
I know they are.
Yeah, Cade and Ty Rotolo.
Their limbs don't move the same as someone else their age.
No, man. All they do is they're like, bro, we just surf and like, we just like, and like those dudes are just like psychotic killers. Like when they're like, you know what I said? They're like, it's like watching Michael Jordan in his prime.
Oh, that's crazy.
Like, and then there's like a little bit of Allen Iverson when Iverson used to get all fancy on the court. Yeah. Like they do fancy shit that they catch you in flying guillotines. Like you'll be standing there, they'll jump up in the air, and you're like, what the fuck is he doing? And then you'll come down and slam dunk your head in the pocket and like just put you in a fucking choke within. You're like, what was that?
That's crazy.
They're wild, man. They're really
that's crazy.
So anyway, do jujitsu. It really is life.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. That was you basically sold me.
I'm telling you.
I'm good because there's a place in Huntington.
Then when you're ready, with all due respect,
I'm not.
We come up here and roll. No, listen.
I don't want to hear it.
Hey, guys, for you two, do a live podcast. I have mats in my basement, and we roll. We do like a quick roll, a 6-minute roll.
You got to give me like 4 years.
No, come on. You'll get into it. You'll get into it in like 6 months. You're gonna feel so comfortable. You're gonna be like, "This is great," you know.
I'm gonna probably think I should have done this earlier.
That's what I say. Especially when I see teens and come in, like you see they let some teens come in the adult like advanced class, and you just look over and like, yeah, I'm staying away from him. Like 12-year-old kid, like, no, fuck that. Jerome over there, fuck that. I'm out. I ain't rolling with Jerome. You know, like it's serious.
I really appreciate you, man. This has been one of the
I just enjoyed the convo, and I appreciate. I didn't know what to expect. I like skimmed through some of the stuff, and it seemed like you guys were cool as hell. So I was like, I hope this isn't all about technical engineering.
Absolutely not.
And I'm so happy that it wasn't, and I'm sorry that I spoke too much.
Oh, no, that's the reason why you're here. We talk enough. You're crazy. If we could have, we would have had you talk only. But the thing is, like,
I felt like it was Drink Champs for a minute.
Look, man, we have a very specific chemistry, and we're brothers. We're actual brothers, and people do enjoy the way.
How far apart are you guys? Years?
3 years. And then what?
8. Yeah, 8 from 8 from me.
Yeah, so I'm turning 31 in 2 weeks.
You're a baby.
Yeah, and I turned 42.
Yeah,
on Monday.
I'd kill for your age. Happy. Yo, do you know? Wait, hold on. Yo, off record. Wait till you all get like that. 49 is a weird one because like next year I'm like, that's different. It's a big difference saying I'm 49 and like, yo, I'm 50.
Yeah, you're right.
You ain't lying, bro.
Even at Berklee, it's like, yo, my professor's cool. He's young. I feel like next year they're going to be like, oh, my professor's, he's pretty cool. And then once he hits 60, bro, once he hits 60, once he hits 60, it's like I'm done. You know what I mean?
She's pretty cool.
Like I'm telling you, once I hit 60, it's like
It's over, bro. I'm joking.
yeah, it's really cool.
You get
But
called Unc yet?
Unc?
Yeah, did you get called Unc yet?
Like, do I have like nieces and nephews?
No. Did any of your like students or anybody call you Unc?
Hell no.
So you're young, man. You're young.
No, you know what they call me? Professor, which is weird still. And then I got this one student who's, I think she's London. She's British. She calls me Prof. Hey, Prof.
Wow. I'm going to use that.
Hey, Prof. It's weird sometimes because at first I didn't understand it. And then I like had to look into it a little bit on ChatGPT. And, you know, shameless plug, ChatGPT. If you were the president or listening right now, just hook me up with a better rate next year. Yeah, no one's called me Unc yet, so that's good. But I'm not that. I don't feel old. I still feel young. Jiu-jitsu keeps me super young.
There you go.
But I was a late bloomer being a dad. You know, I mean, I wasn't. Noah was born when I was 39.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Right,
Okay.
about 39. I was almost 40. So, you know, I was in the business. I didn't.
Yeah.
I had no life. You know, so it is what it is. But I'm still here. And now I was able to take those under $400 a week and make something out of it.
Yeah. That's what we're trying to do, man. That's what we're trying to do. Real quick, before we get off with you, man, where's the Grammy? I just want to see the Grammy.
But it's so dusty.
No, man. It's still a Grammy, though. Man, we appreciate you, man.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I didn't know what to expect, but like this was I've done a few podcasts and this was a lot of fun, man. Like this was
Yeah, man, thank you. It
means a lot to hear, man.
I mean that. I wish you guys like the best of luck with this podcast. I really do. It's really cool, man.
Thank you. Can you do me a quick favor? Can you say thank you for tuning in to On the Couch?
Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to On the Couch. But guys, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I don't mind that I stayed late because I'll deal with the consequences.
Tell the wife we said thank you very much.
No, all good. It's all good. It's all good. I appreciate it. ChatGPT it, all right? Peace out, y'all. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
I can't say this.
Yo, peace out, unks.
All right, peace out, bro. It's all fucking stupid.